A very good evening and a warm welcome to yet another YouTube live show. And I am your host, Shaunak from Asian College of Teachers. Well, in today's world, when we are all working mostly on laptops and computer and WhatsApp, etc., one thing which is lacking is very much is physical activity and thereby what we can call is sports or outdoor activities. Question is that what would be the impact of sports and activities on the cognitive function of our brain as well as the students or our children who are framing or upcoming as teachers and professionals on the future. To talk more on today, we have got not one but two eminent personalities with us. First, let me introduce Mr. Punit Singhania. He is the youngest license holder of World Association of Basketball and FIBA in India. He is currently working with U19 WB Women's Team and at St. Xavier's University's Men and Women Team and 71 Engineers Regiment of Indian Army. Joining with us is Mr. Aakash Dave. He is a professional footballer on a journey to become a certified strength and conditioning coach. He has got a very strong passion for football and fitness, but even more after undergoing two ACL surgeries. He was born and raised in vibrant city of Kolkata, where he has pursued his education from La Martiniere for boys and later at St. Xavier's College. Very warm welcome both to Akash and Puneet to this special edition of YouTube live show on where we are talking about sports and its impact on on the academic performance. Welcome, Akash and Puneet.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Hi, Akash.
Okay,
Hello,
yeah,
Puneet.
absolutely. You're welcome. So the thing is that I would first like to come to Mr. Puneet. My question would be, as you understand, we would be going on with this discussion, and we will take questions from the audience also. My question would be that how does regular participation in sports, or especially into any kind of a physical activity, actually help students in their academics? Your views, please, Mr. Puneet.
As you know, for our brain to work actively, it is important that the blood circulation is normal and is better.
Right.
So
Yeah.
for that, it is important to stay active, and playing sport, any sport, helps you keep up that blood circulation, which also helps your brain to work little fast and keeps you more calm and more uh, uh, more like uh, stable and
Right.
helps you in doing your day-to-day activities pretty normally.
Absolutely. Mr. Akash, what would be your views on this?
I think what he talked about with the blood flow to the brain. I think that's a very important point, and I feel like it helps with many cognitive functions as well in a student, right?
Mhm.
Because I was a student myself and I was an athlete myself, so I did both, and I know the difference it had in my day to day life when I played sport and I studied, and I feel like as a student athlete, I was more self-aware of my surroundings. I was thinking
Mhm.
faster, and I was responding to a lot of things faster because of the sport I played. And I didn't only stick to one sport. When I was a kid, I played many sports, so I had variety. And I think one important factor that I'd like to mention is that when you play any sport, right, there are
Right.
transfers of skills, right? So you have spatial skills, you have motor skills, and motor functions that both go hand in hand. And if you play any sport, like one skill transfers into the next, and so I think that's what really helps, and it's very beneficial for students in general to actively take part in sports. And the thing is, I've noticed that these days a lot of children don't. and it was very common for my generation back like 10 years ago in school to actively play a sport, even though
Right.
you had no desire or aspirations to play it professionally. They just did it for fun. And it's so like with today's day and age where technology is so prevalent, everyone's on their iPads or on their phones, and nobody really goes out, and does any sort of physical activity. And I think that's so important um, for kids these days, because you need to help your brain develop. And just like by sitting in front of a screen, it
Mhm.
kind of numbs you, and so it's very important, and it helps increase blood flow to the brain, like he just said. And there's a region in your brain called the hippocampus, which is
Mhm.
basically um, it's a region in the brain that is associated with your spatial skills, your memory, cognitive function, and stuff like that. So when you actively take part and you're active early doing something physical, there's increased blood flow to those areas, and they help in neurogenesis, which is basically like creation of new neurons in the brain, and that helps you reduce anxiety, reduce stress, and just stay calm and cool
Right.
as a
Right. Absolutely. I mean to say that is really wonderful. Mr. Akash, I will come to Mr. Puri. My question to you is that now you see, it is true that we are all today on WhatsApp too much or on laptop. Our work activities, etc., have changed. So I will come to the one point, and then I will seek a solution from both of you. What is the damage? I mean to say, in terms of, say, when we're doing WhatsApp, too much of nerve activity. What is the damage that these social media, these too much of sticking long hours into laptop, what is the damage that it is creating to young bodies and minds and to muscles? If you can just elaborate on that.
do you want me to go first?
Yeah, sure. I will come to Mr. Puneet next.
um, so the best way for me to put this is that I think when you're stuck working or on your phone, you're in one position for a very, very long time, right? So you're hunched, and your shoulders are rounded
Mhm.
and all of that.
Right.
So what happens is, I'm talking as a strength and conditioning coach, so I hope the phrases that I use are the audience can understand.
Yeah,
So you
sure,
have
sure.
two, so you have two chains in your body, which is the anterior chain and the posterior chain. So the anterior chain is the front of your body, the posterior chain is the back of the body. So when you're stuck in a position where you're using your laptop or your phone the entire time, your anterior chain is doing all of the work. So your back, your glutes, your your hamstrings, everything just becomes weak and idle because it's not being used, right? So we're in one position, and it's not really good because you get stiff, right? And not many people are active, so they work 9 to 5s, and that's all they do. And by the end of the day, they're so tired to do anything after that. They just like sit at home, and I don't really blame them because they're not used to an active lifestyle. And so I feel like it's very important for people to get some sort of activity, and even if that means going for a walk, like for 15
Hmm.
minutes walk, just go out, get something, get some fresh air, do some sort of light activity. Anything is recommended. And that really, what people don't understand is that they feel like it takes so much time and energy to put in that effort to just do something physical. But in reality, what physical activity or any sort of exercise really does, it helps you feel better. I've had clients come into the gym telling me that I don't feel great today, I've had a late night and I haven't really slept and whatever. And then I tell them, okay, fine, we just do like a very light session, and I make them do a session for like 15-20 minutes, and they tell me like, I felt so much better. Not one client has ever complained like I feel worse. So getting in that blood flow, getting your body moving, movement is important. That's what I believe. Any sort of movement is very important. So anything that allows your body to move is beneficial to you, in terms of just reducing stress, feeling better about yourself, um, and just living a nice, healthy lifestyle. So, yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Mr. Puneet, what would be, from your experience, do you think that young students, I would say, This has been an awareness nowadays because more of the people nowadays are going to gym than when we were young. We were basically engaged in cricket or football outdoor activities. So, Mr. Puni, do you find that young people are coming more into the gym, considering the mid-aged people, or how it is?
See, if you compare the present day scenario with past, there's one thing missing is the playground.
Huh?
Like
True.
in previous days, you'll always see a playground near your home or anywhere. But nowadays, with this complex culture coming and uh, more like the playgrounds are pretty less, so
Right.
they need to find a area where they can do some physical activities, and gymming and good trainers are something they can look up to and go to. And moreover, not only can we blame the kids, if the kids follow their parents or someone whom they idolize. If you see a parent using the phone throughout the day, the kid adapts the same. So it is not only important for the kids, and it's not a habit developed in a day or two. It continues for years. So if
Right.
a kid has grown up seeing his or her parents
Right.
staying on phones, staying on computers for a long time, that is
Yes.
something what they adapt. So
Absolutely.
I'll say that it is important in today's time that parents choose their activities very wisely, because the the next generation follows them, like that they're the first
Absolutely.
idols.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Mr. Akash, what I was also feeling, to be very honest with you, this is something which is lacking for both youngsters, boys or girls. So I was, few days back, I was watching my daughter constantly watching shorts. And these are actually very short span videos, very attractive for 40, 50 seconds. Now, what I feel is that watching shorts, whatever they're doing for the commercial part, that is fine. But for young people, you see the retention capacity of the mind is reduced to 50 seconds, which ideally should have been 50 minutes of a long video. Now see the difference. Young people, they remember the movies, right? In a 3 hours, 2.5 hours movie where Shah Rukh Khan had jumped, where the heroine was dancing, etc., they can immediately point out. That means the brain has, or the young people who are doing education, they have got the retention power of 3 hours of a movie. But considering to the YouTube shorts, which is constantly coming on the way, I feel, maybe you and Mr. Puneet would be the right person, is that constantly watching throughout the day, because you don't go watch a movie every day, but you watch shorts almost every hour. So you are reducing the retention power to 45, 50 seconds. Given a duration of 15 or 20 minutes of study, where you have to go through 20 pages, I feel that automatically the retention power reduces and young people really cannot remember those things because the mind is being programmed for a 50 seconds constant video. My question would be, what would be your advice in terms of sports and activities which would improve their retention power and the capacity, which I find myself, to be very honest, within the students are really decreasing day by day. And that is why the entire social media have been programmed in such a way that you cannot watch anything more than 2 to 3 minutes. But it is not that human brain don't have the capacity. It has got an enormous capacity. So my question or request would be if you can throw some light on a kind of an activity which would improve the retention power in terms of youngsters who are doing the education.
Um, I feel that most kids these days don't have patience, right? And I think that's what social media and all these platforms prey on. That they know that okay, this generation of kids, they want to see things that are very shot, and that's all the retentive power that they have. And so, um, again, going back to cognitive functions, I feel it's very important for people or for kids and parents as well to put their kids into any sort of physical activity from a young age. Encourage them to take part in sports and don't just specialize them to one singular sport. Um, make them try out everything. Okay, whether it's
Right.
football, basketball, cricket, hockey, swimming, whatever, just make them do a bunch of different sports, and it'll help them figure out what they like, what they dislike. And when it comes to sports and cognitive function in general, what it does is it can improve, your ability to concentrate and to focus for a longer time. And when you're on your phone 24/7, you have like even when you're on WhatsApp, for example, you respond to a person, and then you're back to either Instagram or Facebook or TikTok or whatever, and you're just scrolling mindlessly, just scrolling through reels, and that takes away so much of your time to do other things. And honestly, what really helped me was some form of meditation. And I know a lot of people talk about it, and it sounds very cliche, but meditation is so beneficial. At first, I
Absolutely.
was also at
I
first I
agree. Please go on because I agree wholeheartedly with you. Yeah, that is a very valid point here. Please.
at first when people suggested meditation to me, because I wasn't being able to, like everyone goes through bad patches when they're playing any sort of sport, right? And Puneet, as a coach now, who's a player before, he would know you don't always play your best game, right? So there are times that you don't have your best days, and you need something to, yeah, yes, talking to family, talking to your friends, trying to
Right.
get some sort of support is good, but you need to do that for yourself. It needs to come from within. And so when people recommended meditation at first, I was like, no, this is not something, it sounds stupid. I'm not going to do it. But one day I had no other option. So I was like, let me see what it feels like. And I did. And obviously, the first time you do it, you don't see immediate results. But the more you do it, the more you put it into practice into your daily life, it does bear fruit. And you do feel so much calmer. And you do feel like you can concentrate for longer and do things longer than just a minute. And so, even for me right now, I won't lie and tell you that I don't spend a couple of hours in the day just like scrolling through Instagram and Facebook. But I know that this is just for a short period, and it just, because I know, like, trading time is trading time. I will focus 100%. Or if I need to watch a movie, I don't get bored easily. Where I see the first 5 minutes of the movie, I think it's boring, and I completely shut it. I know that I have that patience and I have the ability to concentrate and fully focus on the task that I am currently doing, whether that be training on field or working out at the gym or watching a movie or whatever. And so I feel like it's very important to do all of this from a young age, where you develop this and it becomes a habit. Like, habit takes time, right? So you
Absolutely.
develop this habit over a period of time, and things get so much easier for you, and you're able to put in more hours and concentrate on things longer.
Absolutely. Meditation is something I would wholeheartedly agree, and this is something which is very missing. And once we know what Mr. Akash has rightly told, once we know that that specific scrolling for about 5-10 minutes will ultimately eventually give you a wastage of time, then you won't do it. Mr. Puneet, my question to you is that how are you finding the young students who are coming to your for you for coaching or when you're going to gym, etc. How do you find them? I mean to say, are they very eager to really do these sports, or they are being thrust upon that their parents have told you have to go to gym or you have to play? What is the mood that you find?
It's a mixed mood, as Akash pointed out, that at a very early age, neither does the kid know nor does the parent know what the kid is best at.
Right.
So people who connect with the game, suppose if I'm associated with basketball, a kid is active but may have different areas of interest.
Right.
So it depends on how much they connect with the sport. And
Right.
Akash also pointed out a very important point, which I would like to throw. some light on was meditation. This is something that professional teams, they practice 7 to 8 hours a day to develop the muscle memory. Even then, they fall short when they are performing. And most of the good coaches, they depend on meditation. uh,
Right.
like there's one of the greatest coach in basketball, Mr. Phil Jackson. So when he saw the team not able to perform, he switched to Zen meditation. And this is a very common thing and very important thing pointed out by Akash. People think that it's not that important or cliche, but it is a very important point that he pointed out.
Absolutely. Mr. Akash, I know this question would be a little bit, I won't say difficult, but something it would be really difficult for you to gauge an answer. But still, I would like to ask because you have got varied experience. Those students or those who are pursuing education, whatever be the age, those who are pursuing, let's say, for example, your coaching or any kind of a physical activity, and those who are not doing, has there been any instance in your life or your career that you have been able to measure or gauge that those who are participating has got a better cognitive function, retention, doing better and very active, and those who are not a little bit passive in terms of their education?
Um, yeah, you're right. This is a very difficult question to answer. But so when I was in school and college, most of my friends were either on the football team, basketball team, cricket team. We were on the athletics team. So most of my friends were people who were active in their daily life. And I had very few friends who weren't. Um, and I don't want to sound rude, but a lot of the people who didn't engage in any sort of physical activity and were just studious in school, they
Right.
aren't very active um, right now, right? And I don't know how they are doing physically and mentally, but the friends that were on the teams with me are doing so much better in their daily lives. They're still, a lot of them are still playing, whether it's just like recreationally, some of them playing professionally. So as I said, like once you start doing something from an early age, it just like sticks with you. Right? It becomes a habit in your daily life. And a lot of my friends nowadays who are like working 9 to 5s, they tell me, dude, I don't get time to play, and it's so frustrating for me because that's like all I'm doing is working Monday to Friday, and Saturday is half day, and Sunday is the only day I get to rest, and that's I don't really get time to play football or go out or do this, and just I sense the frustration from them. So it's something that they keep wanting to do, and when they do get time, they do go out and do play a sport and play for 1 hour, and they feel much better. So I feel like uh, there is a difference, but I can't really shed much light on that. But
Right.
from my personal friend circle, a lot of them who played sport with me in school are doing much better than those who didn't. So
Okay, great.
that's what
That's quite good enough to understand.
I
Mr.
feel
Puneet,
someone who's good at who's good at sports or academics is good. Someone who's good, he'll be good with both sports and academics. It's not
right.
important
right.
that uh,
Absolutely.
because he has a vision or a focus which helps him with that bi-directional progress,
Right.
that
Absolutely.
energy which he is able to channelize at right places.
I agree. So my question to you, Mr. Akash, is that what I feel that obesity has become a major crisis for the young people as well as for our age. I mean to say, it is true for everyone. Now, this obesity as itself carries a lot of problem in terms of doing further education in terms, as Mr. Puneet has been telling, that if you're not fit enough, then how would you extend long hours, sleepless nights doing research or studies if you're even standing for long hours giving lectures, etc.? What do you suggest? I mean to say, everybody cannot, as Mr. Puneet has rightly, nowadays playgrounds are not much for young students. Maybe the parents who are listening to this talk show, even if they don't have a big field around where they can run or play soccer or something, what would be your advice to do something which would overcome obesity?
Um, so first thing is, when if you're talking about obesity amongst kids, I feel like there are a lot of kids nowadays who just spend time at home doing nothing but like they spend time just on their iPads or on their phones or watching TV, and their parents just feed them whatever. That as a kid, yes, you can't be on a diet and be like you're going to eat this, going to eat that. Just eat whatever, but in moderation. And I feel like these a lot every kid, no matter how, if you are skinny, if you're fat, if you're however, it does not really matter. The important thing for kids is to be active, whether it's for an hour in a day or 3 hours in a day. Just get some sort of physical activity. Go out, play with your friends, go out, ride a bike, go out, join some coaching, whatever it may be. And obesity in general, when you talk about amongst adults, I feel like if you know that you're overweight and if you're suffering from a lot of these problems where you struggle to walk upstairs, or you're walking on the road and you get winded, or you're struggling to do certain, like daily tasks, like bend over and tie your shoelaces, or bend over and pick up something, or things like that, right? If you feel like you're struggling with these things, it should come from within, and you should come to that realization and tell yourself like, this is not the life that I want to live. And with
Right,
the with struggling to do basic daily tasks, there are factors that affect you internally as well. It can lead to high blood pressure, heart problems, kidney problems, just any sort of medical problems, right? I'm not saying it's definitely going to happen if you're obese, but the chances are higher, right? And so it should come from within, and you should and an overweight person should be able to realize this themselves and be like, okay, I want to make a change, and start and make, it's better to start today, right? And then slowly progress and see changes in your life. And nobody's expecting an obese person to come into the gym and lose a ton of weight in a month and then see changes. It's a gradual process, things take time. And so I feel like, just in general, I encourage people to be active, regardless of their age or their gender. Just move about, don't just you know um, sit at home doing nothing and just work your 9 to 5. Find time. Work is important, right? If you find time to wake up in the morning and brush your teeth and eat your breakfast and go to work, you can find time to incorporate a workout in your daily life.
absolutely. Mr. Puneet, what would be your views on this fighting obesity for kids? How it is?
I feel more than physical activities, it's the diet, which is something you need to focus on. Consuming too much of junk is becoming a habit
Food.
and is more convenient these days with all the apps. I wouldn't
Yes, line
name
apps.
them, but there's a hell lot of menu available right at your fingertips. So that is something which is available and convenient. And with the work culture among both the parents, the kids are left behind at uh, most of the places. If you do a survey, you'll find that the kids are like not able to get onto the right track is because of lack of attention from the parents. So I feel like if I talk about my personal experience, I've stopped using Facebook and Instagram a year back. It's been approximately an year that I've uninstalled because even at my age, if I'm not able to control myself from watching the reels for 10 minutes 15 minutes at a time. How can I expect a kid to do that? It's more
Right.
tempting for the kids, and it grabs the time and energy of every kid. Not only kids, adults, everyone's, right? The time is the most expensive, should be the most expensive thing, but is available so cheap right now.
Right.
So physical activity is important, but obesity is majorly caused by wrong diet. You
Long
eat
that.
whatever you want to eat only if you can burn it out. If you're not able to
Absolutely.
burn it out, or if you're not able to hit the gym or hit the ground and you eat anything, that is something your body won't allow you to
Absolutely.
perform better with.
And I feel this is a very valid point, Mr. Puneet told, that if you do not believe yourself or you do not do yourself the right practice, how can you ask your students to do? So we are coming to the end of this session. I have a last question to both of you. I will start with Mr. Akash. Now you have been into a lot of activities. I went to your Instagram. I checked those, photographs and the activities, etc., for soccer and the field, etc. What you do. So what I feel is that we really know the burning issue that is happening for education and other students. For the students, it is not. It is important to go to get into the activities. So, in your view, Mr. Akash, what would be a long-term gain if a person, or I would say kids or youngster, people who are starting their education, what would be a long-term gain if they, along with their studies, take up physical activities, sports, whatsoever?
Uh, Long term gain would be, as I mentioned before, I feel like um, you will be able to better manage your time. That's one, because you will have your school, your education and stuff to deal with, plus your sports. And for me personally, when I was a kid, I always wanted to go for football practice. And one rule that my mother had was, if you don't finish your homework, you cannot go. Right. And so it was something that was ingrained in me. I had to finish my homework before heading out for practice, otherwise, I couldn't go. So education was
Right.
very important, but I came with terms and conditions like finish this and then you can go do what you want to do. And I feel like just in general, overall, I won't go too deep into it. I'll just state a few points about like the overall benefits of physical activity in a student's life. I think one of them would be it reduces your stress and anxiety, because when you're out on the field, you don't there's no pressure to perform. You're just having fun, right? And so that takes away from whatever you're dealing with in your personal life. And kids just want to have fun. They just want to go out, enjoy their time with their friends, and get away from their books, right? Another thing would be time management, as I said. Any sort of sport that you play, right? Be it football, cricket, basketball, hockey, you're interacting with a bunch of other kids your age, right? So it teaches you interpersonal skills, interacting with um, kids from different backgrounds, understanding their emotional and physical needs. And so I think that's very important. Another thing is, when as soon as you get older, right, it helps you perform under pressure, right? Because in sport, nothing, if you're playing competitive sport, it's not always going to be easy, right? There are times
Right.
where you are under pressure and you need to perform a certain way. So staying calm under pressure is very important. And I feel like if you have that with your sport, you can transfer that to your daily life. Helps you make better decisions, right? Because on the field, you're having to uh, in like a fraction of a second, you need to make a decision. Do I go left, do I go right, what do I do, and so that helps you in your daily life as well to make decisions, and helps you stay more calm and composed. Another thing would be memory. Helps you uh, have better memory. Inculcates discipline, which is the most important factor, I think,
Absolutely.
for me.
Absolutely.
Because
Absolutely. Absolutely.
if, if you have discipline in your sport, where you wake up at 6 a.m., you go for training, you come back, eat your breakfast, you do whatever you have, that transfers to your daily life, where you have to work and you have only like 3 hours in the day to finish a certain task. You will make sure that it's done. because in your head you know that I follow a certain lifestyle when I play a sport. Why shouldn't I follow that lifestyle when I'm working outside of my sport? So I feel like these are just a few of the things that transfer from being active, like physically active, uh, to your personal life. And I feel like it's very important for anyone, be it a kid, an adult, regardless of your age, gender, to take part in physical activity and do something, just move, right? So I think all of these skills transfer to your personal life.
Absolutely. Mr. Puneet, any further views if you can throw some light on
There's
this?
a hell lot of a long list of advantages that sports have, and uh, it helps you develop your leadership, makes you take decisions fast, decision making. Playing in a team sport helps you, makes you more team friendly, or helps you work in a environment with others.
Right.
Apart from this, I'll give you a solution. Discipline and time management is something that kids need to follow from a very early age, and time management is something which I followed during my school days, and was suggested by one of the best psychologists in the city, was to divide the day into three uh, parts of 8 hours, which includes 8 hours of sleep, 8 hours of studies, and 8 hours of any activities. So it gives you a lot of time. I'll suggest all the parents or teachers to help their kids with a sheet and make them do this exercise for at least a month, because after that they themselves get into that habit, that they make a chart of dividing the day into three, that is 8 8 8, and they fill up each every day before sleeping, that how much hours did they sleep, how much
Right.
time did they study, and how much time did they spend eating, or taking shower, or traveling, or playing. And that is how they'll come up uh, with the time which they are wasting throughout the day,
Absolutely.
and they'll uh, keep shifting the attention to all the columns, which which is 8 hours of sleep, 8 hours of study, and 8 hours of rest of the things.
Right.
So out of that 8 hours of doing, apart from sleep and study, you see 8 hours is a long time.
Yes,
So
very long time.
you can do anything. You can play for say 2 hours, 3 hours, eat, sleep, eat, take shower, travel, whatever you want to do within those 8 hours. So I'll suggest the parents and teachers to practice this, because this helped me 15 years back. I think so. This is something that will help the kids in the present generation, and will help them cut short the time which they're wasting, and make
Absolutely.
it more productive.
Absolutely. So with Mr. Akash and Puneet, I think the young people, where we spread a message today that along with the studies, this is very important for cognitive function, retention, and to improve and excel with your studies. So anybody who is willing, they can contact Mr. Akash and Puneet in terms of even not only for their own, fitness, but if you want to really improve your study, this is something which is essential. Thank you, Mr. Akash. Thank you, Mr. Puneet, for joining with us and giving such an enlightenment session. I can tell you this is a very unique session. For last 2.5, 3 years, the sessions that I'm conducting, this is something very unique, very important, and the need of the hour, especially on today's generation when we are all on social media and spending more hours on mobile, etc. I think this is. Thank you very much, Mr. Akash. Thank you, Puneet.
Thank you for coming up with such a important topic.
My pleasure. Thank you. Thank
Thank
you
you.
very much.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.